It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up.
I'm so happy to see you here. It's just the start of the GREENTECH Festival, and so nice that you're here joining us for this Hunger and Climate Slam. So I'm Regina. I'm leading the acceleration programs of the World Food Programme, and I'm very delighted today. How can we innovate for a world without hunger? I don't see it moving. Here we go. Good. So we're going to start with some opening words from my side, where I will introduce to you the World Food Programme. Then we have a keynote speech, and then we speak very briefly about the Innovation Accelerator. So we have an accelerator within the World Food Programme. So what is our mission? What do we want to achieve? And then we have 4 pitches, so 4 portfolio ventures, which are here to fight against the climate crisis and to achieve zero hunger. And last but not least, also we would like to have your engagement, so listen carefully, because you need to vote at the very end. But I'm going to explain much more during the day. Okay, as I'm saying, I'm leading the acceleration program for the World Food Programme. So we are an accelerator, as you have many in the private sector, in the for-profit world, where we try to identify and source different solutions, and we accelerate them, we support them. But let me give you a very brief background. Why are we here today? We are definitely facing the worst humanitarian crisis. And the figures that you are seeing here is the number of people who have acute food insecurity. What do we mean by acute food insecurity? It means that a person is not able to get the right amount of food, and there's a danger for its life. So it's really something which is endangering the life. And in 2019, we had 135 million people who had suffered of acute food insecurity. But now, this year, we are on a level of 309 million people. This is incredible. And there are different root causes for that. On the one hand, we have climate. We know that I think climate disaster is one of the biggest root causes. What we are having, we have floods, we have drought, we have tsunami. So we have many climate disasters. But we also have conflicts. We speak a lot about the war in Ukraine. We have Gaza. Here in our country, we don't speak as much about Sudan. We have millions of people migrating because of the conflict in Sudan. So there are many conflicts around the world which are really causing food insecurity. But we still suffer from the effects from the pandemic and the rising costs. So there are different root causes which has caused this increase in numbers. And what we see as a WFP Innovation Accelerator, innovation is needed more than ever. So there's really a wide spot where we can innovate. The climate emergency is a hunger emergency. As I was saying, the global heating has caused many climate disasters, floods, drought, storms. And these climate disasters, they are affecting the lives, the crop, the livelihoods, and also the food systems. And this is something which is really critical. So there's a direct link between climate and food insecurity. If you look in empirical data, there are some climate projections. If the world is getting 2 degrees of Celsius warmer, we are experiencing around 189 more people who might face food insecurity. 189 plus the 300 I was just telling before. If the world is getting 4 degrees of Celsius warmer, it's even 1.8 billion people who are vulnerable to food insecurity. This is significant. I mean, we have already a problem today to give food to those people. The resources are limited. So it's so important that we fight against this, that we find solutions, and we bring innovations in. The World Food Programme is the biggest, the largest humanitarian organization. We have more than 20,000 people. We have more than 20,000 people working for the organization. And we have two different pillars. The one is in emergency situations. This can be the war in Gaza. It can be the earthquake in Turkey. But it can also be the cyclone Mocha in Bangladesh. When there is a disaster and the people are at risk, we're the first organization on the ground to give food, but also cash. So that's one part. But what we also try to do, to take the people out of hunger more sustainably, to work on climate adaptation, regenerative agriculture, to build sustainably the future. I need to drink something. Good, now we can go on. We have received the Nobel Peace Prize in 2020. And it was very interesting to see the argumentation line of the committee, because they were seeing a close link between hunger and peace. Conflict is one of the root causes of hunger. So that's why we have been awarded to this let's say, award, which was really appreciated. And this is now, we are aiming a world without hunger, zero hunger by 2030. That's our biggest ambition. And now I'm very happy to welcome Mrs. Claudia Müller. She's the Parliamentary State Secretary of the German Federal Ministry of Food and Agriculture on stage for her keynote speech. Mrs. Müller, the stage is yours. Hello. Do you like to have a chair? Or? I'm good.
Thank you, Regina. I hear it sounds perfect, wonderful. Well, thank you for this warm welcome. I'm very delighted to be here with you today because seeing you all really gives me hope. And this festival and this platform is not only there for sharing innovative ideas and presenting technologies in the field of sustainability, but really it is a symbol of change. And we really need to join forces in order to move forward. And this is what this event is all about. So I'm really eager to hear all your pitches later on, because I'm convinced that projects like the ones you're planning, you're working on, are the ones we need in order to adapt to the world full of changes. Now, we see that we are at a turning point in history. And the question is whether we are able to set the course on a pathway to a sustainable future, or if we are not. And we are seeing great challenges at the moment. The climate crisis, the loss of biodiversity, land degradation, and in some regions, the scarcity of water. And in addition, we see violent conflicts and wars, partly caused by the aforementioned causes, and then also adding on to that. And all of it together causes great suffering. And that's what we are talking about today, extreme influence on global food security. And we have quite a disastrous situation there as well. Right now, 735 million people suffer from hunger. And the world population is growing, while arable land is not. Now that all sounds rather bleak, doesn't it? So one could actually lose hope. But at the moment, I don't feel like losing hope, and I think none of you is either, because if you were, you would not be here, you would not be working on the solutions. So what we are seeing, and that really gives me hope, is great potential. We see creativity, we see people with ideas, and coming here means that you are joining together, joining forces in order to fight all these challenges. What I'm seeing is that we have the knowledge, we have technologies, we have innovative spirits, and we can bring them all together. And this GREENTECH Festival is a great example of that. So here, forces are drawn together to bring upon a positive change. But it's not just events like this. We must not just look upon these events, but we must look beyond. And we must connect those with good practices. And that needs actions from all of us. Actions from the governments, actions from international organizations, governmental and non-governmental. It needs the private sector, the academia, and of course, civil society. If we all join forces, we can successfully bring transformation towards agriculture and food system, towards a transformation that is then sustainable for both mankind and nature, and that can contribute to realizing the human right to adequate food. Now, from a global perspective, right now, there is enough food for everyone. It's just not in the places where it needs to be. And too often, we use production methods that will undermine our ability to produce food in the future. Currently, 30% of the greenhouse gas emissions is caused by agriculture and our food systems. So we need not only to look onto how to reduce emissions, but in agriculture, we have possibilities to be a carbon sink as well. So at the moment, agriculture is a driver of climate change, but it actually can be one of the main solutions. And that, again, is something that can give us hope. So we need a holistic approach to agroecology and circular economy. We need investments in research and innovation because we see the green technologies as really a driver of this positive transformation. Now, I know that Mr. Kovacs-Bernard is not here yet. I have to say I had a little bit of trouble coming as well, so traffic everywhere is crazy at the moment. But thank you, Regina, really for this platform, for this GREENTECH Festival, connecting innovators, facilitating exchange and supporting high-impact innovations. And as this is supposed to be a keynote, of course there has to be one key message. And the key message is actually quite simple, and it's one you certainly have heard quite often. Cooperation is key. Cooperation is the key to produce new ideas. It's key to protect our planet. It's key to conserve natural resources. It's the key to ensure global security and key to sustainable agro-systems. So today, all of you are here to talk to each other, to listen to each other, to connect with each other, and even connect others that don't know each other yet. So to join forces, to cooperate, to create new ideas. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for sharing your ideas and your projects, because that's what gives me hope. And hope really is urgently needed in this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Müller, for this inspiring speech, which many things you were saying, I sense the same. I think there's room for innovation, there's need for innovation. We can't do it alone. We need to go for a multi-stakeholder approach, for partnerships. This is why we try to bring, let's say, the ministry together, the startups, the ventures, why we have UN agencies, international organizations, NGOs. Together, we're really able to change that. Let me briefly speak about the WFP Innovation Accelerator. As I was saying, we source, support and scale high-impact innovation to reach zero hunger, but also the other SDGs. And we're working like a normal accelerator. So we have a scouting team. They are looking for the most promising solutions. We pilot, test them in one country, and really try to scale them in more than one country. WFP has operations in 120 countries and territories. And this is quite amazing, because when we pilot something in one field, and it's working, how can we adapt it, evolve it to the next context? So we don't have always to reinvent the wheel, but really can build on the learning that we have. Last year, we supported 74 innovations, ventures in 70 countries. And we had been founded 9 years ago in Munich. And since then, we're really operating on a global scale. Last year, we have reached more than 60 million people where we positively impacted their life. And this can be, perhaps we have increased the field of a smallholder farmer, Or perhaps someone has received cash, but much faster because we were using blockchain. Or it could be that because we were working on early warning systems, we could inform some of the communities much earlier and give them money before. So very diverse, our portfolio. And this is what I want to show you, the last slide before we move to the pictures, about what is the climate framework of the World Food Programme. We have 4 different pillars. The first one is around anticipate. And this is what I was saying before. There's a disaster and you can react afterwards. Or you anticipate, you invest in early warning systems, and you know a disaster is coming. You do pre-positioned finance, you give the money before, and the people can save their lives, their crops, their livestock, and you don't have to help afterwards. So it's a different way on how we try to do things. The second one, restore. We speak a lot about nature-based solution, regenerative agriculture. We know that 52% of agri-land is degraded. This is significant. We need to restore the land. The third one is around protect. We're living here in Germany and in this Western European continent with governments who have built strong safety nets. If the pandemic is happening, there's an insurance, there's money that we get, there's support. But many countries in the global south don't have that. A disaster is happening. The people don't get support. So how can we build these safety nets? How can we invest in climate investment and in insurance? And the last one is energize. You might not know that the World Food Programme is the biggest provider of school meals. So we are giving school meals pretty much around the world. Many children get minimum like 1 meal per day from us. And how can we work in order to establish clean energy in schools, but also in the communities? So these are the 4 pillars, and you will see that some of the solutions, they are in different pillars, in regenerative agriculture, in energize, just to get a flavor of our portfolio. And now I've spoken quite a lot. So I think you're very curious now to hear about those 4 pictures. How does it work? Each of the pictures has 3 minutes. They're briefly going to tell you about the problem they are tackling, what is the solution about the traction they have achieved already, and what they plan, what is their vision, where to go. Afterwards, we have a panel of 2 amazing people. They have 5 minutes to ask questions. And we will see what each of the pictures is responding. But you are also asked, if this is interactive, prepare yourself. There will be a voting session at the very end. You don't have to vote right now, so listen to the 4 pictures, because one of the 4 pictures will be on the main stage tomorrow, where there is the big slam at the main stage at 10:15. So you are going to decide which one of the 4 is going to be there. Prepare yourself, I come back on that later. Picture introduction. We have 4 amazing people. The first one is Maryann Wanja. She is from Rwanda, a sustainability coordinator. The second one is Joona, Mikkola. He is from the venture SoillWatch, and he is the chief scientist and co-founder there. And then we have Gabriel Mumba. He is a board member from the energy cooking solutions. And last but not least, we have Wanja from Desert Control. So we have 4 different pictures, and this is the last one, and I'm going to ask the 2 people on stage. We have Needy Pant and Moritz Strenger-Tuborg. So, Needy, I have Needy. She was on stage last year. She is the co-founder of S4S Technologies. And really, please, a big applause to her, because she's a recent Earthshot Prize winner. Needy, do you want to introduce yourself very briefly?
Hello, everyone. It's great to be here. S4S stands for Science for Society. We help smallholder farmers in India and Africa adapt to climate change by helping them become food processors and increase their income. So instead of selling a tomato, they now sell a ketchup and get more value for their produce. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and the second one, we have Moritz Strenker-Tuborg. He is partner of NetLike. This is a partner of the World Food Programme who is really supporting us with deep tech expertise to evolve the ventures. Moritz.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. Hi to everyone. So my name is Moritz Strenker-Tuborg. We're a partner to the WFP. And I'm leading the European efforts when it comes to early stage startup involvement into our humanitarian sectors, and that's both the WFP, UNHCR, and we collaborate with the Norsken Impact Hub, and I'm super much looking forward to the pitches today. Thanks for having me.
Okay, perfect. Keep it. So, the way it's going to work, we're going to have the pitcher. The first one is pitching 3 minutes, and then both of them are asking a question to the panel. And I'm very glad to welcome now the first pitcher, who will be Maryann Wanja. She is the sustainability coordinator of Sucafina, and she's presenting the venture Reback to Vivac. Maryann, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Regina. Hello, everyone, and meet John Munezero. John Munezero is a smallholder farmer in Rwanda. He grows coffee as his main economic activity and also intercrops it with food crops to meet his household's nutritional needs. But over the recent years, he's been facing low farm productivity as a result of nutrient-depleted soils. He's also unable to address this challenge due to limited access to farm inputs. But we see a solution in the bio-waste that is generated during coffee processing. Cherry pulp waste accounts to 45% of the total weight of coffee, and it also has low nutritional value. So what normally happens after processing, the waste is left to decompose for close to 8 months and then spread across the land. But we see a solution in harnessing the power of black soldier flies to transform this bio-waste into nutrient-dense organic fertilizer. So we, as Sucafina, a global coffee exporter, we have partnered with WFP, Innovation Accelerator, and a startup called Protein. We currently have a facility in eastern Rwanda at one of the coffee wet mills that is able to process close to 20 metric tons of bio-waste on a monthly basis, which will enable us to produce 4,000 bags of nutrient-dense, supercharged organic fertilizer. So what you're seeing is that the worms are able to break down the waste and turn it into fertilizer in about 30 days as compared to 8 months when we are decomposing the cherry pulp waste. So we have conducted field trials, and we have compared the product to other organic inputs in the market, such as cow dung, chicken cow dung, chicken dung that farmers normally use as organic inputs in the farms. And the supercharged product has been found to be high yielding and able to increase farm productivity by over 18%. Another thing is that we have produced 100 metric tons of organic fertilizer that has been given to 1,500 smallholder beneficiaries at no cost. This product is able to increase agricultural resilience to climate change. So what we're seeking is 300,000 to revolutionize composting. This will enable us to expand our footprint, establish additional units across Rwanda and also in East Africa. It will also boost our production by 4 times and enable us to support close to 6,000 smallholder farmers. So we are coming out to you to partner with us to enhance food security in East Africa through regenerative agriculture and empower more farmers like John Munezero. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Maryann. That was a great start. Very well done. No, but I mean, just to recapture, on the one hand, we have low farm productivity. On the other hand, we have organic waste from cherry pulps. And how can we combine that by leveraging black soldier flies, that we really have a fertilizer, organic fertilizer, which can be used for the smallholder farm. So very smart solution, very effective, and also very cost efficient. So now to the expert panel. Needy, do you want to start to ask your first question?
No, it's a wonderful solution solving for many different challenges. My question to you is that how is your product different from others in the market, the competing fertilizers in the market?
Yes. Thank you, Niti. So one of the things is that the product has a low carbon footprint due to the technology that we're using. It is also has a higher nutrient composition as compared to the other organic inputs. It's also able to restore, that is the essence of regenerative agriculture, restore the soil properties, increase water retention, especially when we're experiencing long drought periods in East Africa. Thank you.
Thanks, great pitch. How do you measure the impact of your solution and how do you report it back to investors, smallholder farmers and other stakeholders of your solution?
Okay, thank you very much. So one of the ways that we're following the input, we are analyzing the soil to see if there's an improvement in the pH and the organic matter in the soil. The next part, we are also tracking the yield increase in the farm. Eventually, we are also looking at, are we able to support the household up to what level? So these are some of the KPIs that we're using when we're talking to investors, and also the reach that we are enabled, because one of the things, we give the inputs to free to farmers, but we are also adapting them to like apply it on the farm and through trainings.
Thanks a lot.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Maryann. So that was a great start. Now we're moving to the second pitches, and I'm very happy to welcome Joona Mikkola. He's the co-founder and chief scientist from SoillWatch. Joona, the stage is yours.
Thank you. So hi, I'm Joona. Here we go. Joona, co-founder and chief scientist from SoillWatch. I'm here to talk about our work. So actually, I started my career in Sudan. I was monitoring the World Food Program's activities there. It's actually the biggest humanitarian food security crisis at the moment. It's about 25 million people facing food insecurity. So when I was working there, what I noticed was that land degradation was linked to a lot of social problems, such as food insecurity, decreased yields, and also resource conflict. So this basically means that if we can address simultaneously a number of social problems by reversing land degradation and restoring ecosystem health. The emerging carbon markets provide an opportunity to finance ecosystem restoration at a scale. The voluntary carbon market is projected to grow by 100 times by 2050. Also, if we price carbon emissions according to their social cost, the carbon market could be actually 8% of the world GDP. However, there's a problem with transparency and integrity on the carbon markets. So there's a need of credible and reliable data because the entire carbon market is based on trust. So we founded SoillWatch for that. What we do, for instance, we can model the impact of improved agricultural practices on carbon stocks and yields. Because soil organic matter does not only contain carbon, but also the core macronutrients. Drawing down carbon also increases yields and smallholder income as well. We assimilate data from different data sources with the help of AI tools such as machine learning, Bayesian inference, and probabilistic modeling. And this way we can provide data at a low cost in a data scarce environments. By adapting soil conservation practices globally, we can increase maize and wheat yields in between 10 and 30%, capture 9 gigatons of carbon annually, which is about 25% of the anthropogenic CO2 emissions, and also save 1 trillion cubic meters of water per year. We were founded at 2021, worked on the first 2 years, more or less, figuring out our soil carbon model. 2023 was a tough year for us. Most of our projects were in Sudan. So because of the war, we have to leave everything there. But this year, we back quite strong. We already over 200K on revenues. Also, we just opened up a new office in Nairobi, which is like a global climate finance hub. So we have bootstrapped from the beginning. We have been able to build quite a diverse portfolio of clients, including climate finance companies, UN agencies, and NGOs. But in order to invest our product development and also scale our impact, we're looking to raise 750K. Thank you.
I mean, just to recapture, if you do nature-based solutions, you need to take into consideration environmental, social, but also financial considerations. So it's quite complex. And having solutions like SoillWatch, where you have Earth observation and artificial intelligence, really help to get this comprehensive view. So very well done. Now, Moritz, the stage is yours first.
Thanks for the pitch, and I would love to go deep on the technical side of it, but out of a more general interest, because you have been working on both sides, the private side and the NGO side, what, from your point of view, drives successful private-public partnerships, and how can we support you in that sense?
So we are normally the data provider. Typically, as was earlier mentioned, agriculture can be actually a climate solution. Many times you need a quite large scale for any programs. So oftentimes you can just work on a project level when it can be mainly done by private sector. But typically, ideally, you would have a kind of nationwide incentives for drawing down carbon and restoring soil and the ecosystems. So the government would be therein, and then also private sector, agricultural companies, companies who want to invest to net zero to offset their carbon. So yeah, it doesn't. Depending on the level where we work, whether it's project level or national level, it does need a public-private partnerships.
Thanks, Ray.
Nidhi.
Great. Thank you for the pitch. It's good to see what you have achieved till now. My question would be that how is this helping the smallholder farmers? And the carbon credits that you sell in the market, are they also passed on to the farmers? Do you also include them when you raise the carbon credits? Do they also get share of it?
Yeah, so we don't sell the carbon credits. That belongs to the project owner, whoever it is. But yeah, the whole idea is that farmers can be a solution for climate change. And there's, unlike in many other carbon stocks in soil, we have a win-win situation, because if we increase the carbon stocks in soil, we increase the yields. However, there needs to be incentives for farmers. They can be either in-kind incentives, fertilizers, extensive services, or they can be monetary incentives. All of that depends a lot. So typically, at the beginning of a program, you do a study to understand better the population and what would truly incentivize them to adapt these practices. So yes, absolutely. The whole point is that the farmers benefit from it, and not just from the increasing yields, but also through kind of in-kind or cash contributions.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks.
perfect. Very interesting question. Thank you very much. Good. Then let's pass the mic to... I'm very happy to welcome the next pitcher on stage, which is Gabriel Mumba, and he's the board member of Emerging Cooking Solution. The stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much. As you can see, my name is Gabriel Mumba. I'm from Zambia. As I stand here right now, 6 million people face starvation back home because of the drought situation that is caused by climate change, which is caused by the cutting of trees, deforestation. The cutting of trees is basically caused because of the production of charcoal, which is quite a problem back in our country. I can tell you that 200,000 hectares of land is destroyed every year because of the cutting of trees to produce charcoal. Now, as Emerging Cooking Solutions, we've come to replace charcoal with pellets that use biomass for cooking, and then these are used with the stoves that we've produced. These stoves are connected to internet for us to monitor of how much pellets are used, and of course, for us to connect to the internet so that we can monitor them, and then we can know the kind of usage. And from this pellets, 40 to 50% of the people that have switched from charcoal to pellets, they save up to 40% in terms of finances. So far, we have produced and distributed 4,000 stoves in Zambia, Malawi, and Mozambique. This is where the main challenges of cutting trees is. We have a factory, the biggest factory that produces pellets from wood on the Copper Belt in Zambia. We produce about 12,000 metric tons of pellets annually. What we are looking for right now, we are looking for $2.5 million. This is going to increase the number of stoves, and also we are trying to have another factory built in Malawi so that we can double or triple the number of people that are using pellets. The people that are able to switch from charcoal into pellets so that we can save the environment, we can save our trees so that the climate change is controlled. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Gabriel. Very well done. And just to recapture, I mean, in many countries in the global south, women are still cooking with charcoal and with firewood, which has different implications. Environmental, because of the deforested land. Health, because you breathe from the fire. But also safety. Women need to go to the woods by themselves, alone. So there are multiple angles on how we can see that. And to have solutions like the biomass pallets is an amazing environmental friendly, but also affordable solution for the future. So now, Nidhi, I think you're the next one.
Thank you, Gabriel. What I would like to know is that how do people in peri-urban region afford your stove as well as the pellet?
Thank you so much. So basically, the stoves, we don't sell them. We give them to anyone that is ready to use them at a fee of just $4, which is manageable. Remember that these people that have been using charcoal, which is more expensive than the pellets. So we give them the stove at $4 with the condition that they'll be buying our pellets. So basically, those that switch from charcoal to our stove, they're actually saving 50% of their income. So they can afford it.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thanks. Well done. Love the ambition level as well. And if you would say, what's the key strategy you have to put in place to reach, let's say, 1 million households in the next decade? So what is it you have to do to achieve that?
Okay. One of them is actually to sell carbon credit. When you sell carbon credit, you'll be able to buy more stoves, which you can be able to roll out. And the other strategy is when you get the funding that we are looking for, we'll be able to build another factory that is going to double or triple the production of pellets. And that is going to increase the number of people that will be using our stoves.
And how do you bring it to the households at the end? Is it through distribution channels or people just buying it on?
So basically what we've done is we've rolled out agents that sell on our behalf. Okay. Creating to a tune of 200 jobs because of the agents that we've appointed all over that sell on our behalf.
Nice, great work, thanks.
Thank you.
Perfect, thank you very much, Gabriel. Yeah, and last but not least, we have Jan Wada, who is from the venture Desert Control, and I'm curious to hear from your pitch.
Thank you. Yeah, so we are Desert Control. We're a small company out of Norway with a very big vision of making Earth green again. Let's first look at some of the challenges that we collectively have to fight. More than 20% of Earth's dry lands are already degraded. And that includes, as Regina said, more than half of the world's agricultural lands. Even though we rely on soil for 95% of our food, every year we lose more than 12 million hectares of fertile land to desertification. That's roughly the size of Austria and Switzerland combined. Already, we're using more than 70% of all the fresh water for agriculture and food production. This creates an enormous stress on the water system, as can be seen on the water stress map here in large parts of the world. So specifically on the problem we're solving, we're addressing the poor ability of sandy soils to retain water. In fact, only about 15% or less than 50% of the water retains long enough in the topsoil for the plants to access it. The rest is lost very quickly to deep drainage, and it pulls a lot of the fertilizers and nutrients with it. Our solution is liquid natural clay, or LNC. It is a nature-based solution that significantly improves the retention of both water and nutrients in sandy soils. So clay has been known for a long time to help hold a lot of water in soils, but it's very impractical, pretty much impossible, to use natural clays to improve sandy soils. So we have invented a liquid which is nearly as thin as water, so it's easy to apply. You can pump it out through existing irrigation systems. In Important to highlight, it is not something that we can sell by the ton or by the liter, a one-size-fits-all. It is a turnkey solution. So we analyze, diagnose the soil, we formulate a specific LNC, we then produce and apply it at the site, the farm or the forest. We validate the results and we monitor performance over time. We've done close to 40 projects now, including third-party validations in the UAE and the US, as shown on the screen here. We're consistently seeing water savings of 30 to 50%. With the less irrigation, there's less need for pumping, so you use less energy. With less water drainage, there's less fertilizer needs. And we see on the gain side, we've seen yield increases up to 60%. This is very much crop dependent. We consistently see increasing soil health indicators over time, which is key. And the savings and the gains helps drive the profits on this, right? The market is very big if you look at it from an impact perspective, but also if you look in some of the relevant subsectors within agriculture, for example. We're currently operating in the US Southwest directly and through partners in the Middle East. We are already a publicly listed company, so we're happy to talk to investors, but the key thing for us is really more client in the regions we're at or potential partnerships for new regions and markets. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jan. Very well done. And just, I mean, you've seen the nice traction that they have achieved in the UAE and in the US. But the question for us, the World Food Programme, we operate in very fragile contexts. So what we are planning and we are starting at the moment is to pilot it in Iraq. So in a context which is not money rich, which is forgotten by many other countries, but where can we bring these kind of disruptive solutions and really can bring them to the more conflict-affected areas? So I'm very curious to see on how the pilot is going, but it looks very promising. Good. So, Moritz, you are the first.
Thanks a lot. Now you said it's a huge market and there's pilots coming up, but what would you say is the key barrier to scaling to new markets, and what's the go-to-market strategy and what holds you back?
Yeah, no, thank you. So it's twofold. I mean, some of it is technical. We started off with a small scale. We have to develop our capacity. We need to develop our knowledge database. There's, an infinite number of soil types. There's an infinite number of crops, not infinite, but a lot. And we're also in the landscape sector. We're in the forestation sectors. So one is building our experience database, one is building our capacity. So the latest prototype we are testing now for manufacturing or producing our LNC, we've just reached a 500 increase in the sort of rate compared to where we started with the first prototypes, which means that, where we started, we would need about 7 weeks to cover an area of a football field. Now we can do 7 football fields in 1 week. So there's things we had to do internally, but also in terms of expanding into new markets, we're carefully consolidating where we're at. We're still a small company, but what we need to get in order not to use the same sort of 2 or 3 years is working with international organizations like the WFP. That's why we're very excited about the scoping we're doing now for a project in Iraq, or potential international organizations with a large international footprint. That'll allow us to go easier into new regions.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
One thing that caught my eye was that it increases the yield by 60%. Would you have any idea in what proportion does the cost also increase?
Yeah, so that is a very good question, and it's I hate to be the guy who answers with it depends, but it really does depend. As I said in the quick presentation, we don't provide this by the liter or by the ton. It is a complete project. So I can't give you a dollar number to that, but on the particular one, so it's also very crop dependent. We achieved 62% to be exact on zucchini when we did this at a third-party research station in the UAE. But zucchinis are so low-cost crops that even with the 62%, it was a marginal ROI when you look at the economics of it. However, in the same project, we achieved about 28% increase in yield on watermelons. And that had a fantastic return because there's so much more value to that. So it is a consideration you have to look at every time, and which we look at together with potential clients, which we looked at with the WFP. We do sort of a simulation on the inputs and outputs on this. But we do have some phenomenal cases like dates, which is a lot used in the Middle East. We see an ROI for the date farmers of 1 year, right? So I mean, our product is good for 5 years in the ground. They make back their investments on the first year, in less than a year, in fact.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Just take it. Now, this was amazing. Thank you very much to the 4 pitchers. So now the audience, that's now your turn. As I was saying, we're going to have a voting session. Please take your mobile phone, scan the QR code. So you're going to select the one venture that you would like to be on stage tomorrow at the main stage at 10:15 for the GreenTech Slam. It's very difficult. We have Maryann from Reebok to Debug. We have Joona from SoillWatch. We have Gabriel from Emerging Cooking Solutions. And we have Jan from Desert Control. So which one is the venture that you would like to have on stage? It's a difficult decision. Even myself, I think all of those, they are so amazing. Everyone has received or achieved already nice traction and impact. Oh, wow. Vote now, huh? It's going up and down. Has everyone done its vote? Still some movers? But then I would say, no changes? Is everyone done? I still see some people clicking. Oh, wow, now it's getting tight between Desert Control, Iraq, and Sucafina in Rwanda. Now Rwanda is the very beginning. So I'm not communicating anything. I'm still looking if people are moving. Has everyone done? Or please raise the hand if someone is still thinking. It's a hard decision, huh? Okay, I think we have the winner. And I'm very happy to welcome Maryann on stage, who is... Well done. Congratulations. So the winner of the voting session is the team Reebok to Debug and Maryann representing it. That's really amazing. Thank you very much. Okay. One last slide from my side. I mean, we're at the end of our session. It was so great that you stayed here with us and also voted and actively participate about how the program will be tomorrow.
It's time to wake up.